Hi guys, it's Alex here from Alex Matteo Estate Agents once again. I hope everyone is doing well and having a lovely week so far. So we're doing things a little bit differently at the moment. What we're wanting to do is we're actually going to give you a bit of an update on the property insight at this moment in time. So there's a lot going on, obviously, with COVID-19. There's a lot of changes. Obviously, stamp duty, once again, we're going to cover because I know it's a big thing that's on the market at the moment. But without further ado, we have got Matteo joining us. So, Matteo, how are you doing anyway?
All good, guys. Good evening. How are you, Alex? All good?
I'm very good, actually, very good. So, yeah, no, obviously, as you know, we've been very busy, both of us. So we're still sort of trying to keep up with the flow of business at this moment in time. But what I'm going to do, Matteo, is obviously we'll introduce ourselves, just so then everyone knows who we are, and then we'll go straight into it. So yeah, guys, I'm Alex. So I'm the CEO of Alex and Matteo Estate Agent. So I'm shared director with Matteo, and yeah, we basically base ourselves just in East London. We do a couple of properties around sort of west, but at the moment we're keeping with that sort of side of things. So yeah, we're very busy at the moment. We've obviously stamp duty, like I said, and with the lettings market, it's a little bit of an interesting one, but we'll cover this one in a second anyway. But yeah, Matteo, if you want to give you a bit of a sort of a background sort of information as well, so then everyone knows.
Yeah, certainly. It's Matteo here. I've been working in the property industry for roughly 15 years, in Italy first and in London for the last 10 years. I live in Bermondsey. We work in Bermondsey. We opened our own business almost 2 years ago. We are doing very well. As Alex said, we've been very busy in the last month, both sales and lettings. And we are here to answer your question if you have any of them. More than anything, Alex already asked questions to some of our clients, and I hope we can answer some of those questions today.
Exactly. So, like Matteo said, what we're doing at the moment is we're actually trying to push ourselves out as much as possible to a lot of people out there and see what their sort of comebacks are and see what they're trying to sort of find out information on. And what we want to do as an agency and what we want to do as obviously with the podcast station as well is that we want to try and help out as many people as possible. And if we can do that, personally, I'll be a lot happier anyway. But yeah, without further ado, what I'm going to do is we're just going to go through some of the information or the key factors of what people are asking at the moment. And we can obviously go from there. I think one of the main things that a lot of people are asking at the moment, when we did do the sort of the questionnaire to everybody out there on YouTube, and also we did it on our Instagram feed as well, is about the market with the letting side as well, because obviously everyone's talking about sales at the moment, sales this, sales that, sales this. But lettings is something of a very key interest to a lot of people, because the people that can't afford to buy their property, what are they going to do? You can't just sort of like just jump around like willy nilly. You're going to need to obviously find somewhere to start living. So I've had a chat to a lot of people, and I said, so what are your sort of thoughts at the moment? So one of the questions that I had is about what's the market like right now with the lettings market? Is it fluctuating a hell of a lot? Is it going up and down with the price, or is it staying the same, or is it going up? What's the situation? So Matteo, I'm going to pass it over to you, and then I've got a couple of things to add as well.
Yeah, it's a good point. We are living in a very particular period of our year, the
Cool.
COVID period. what we have seen in the market is that, first of all, in the last 15 days, we've been very, very busy. The busiest I ever been in the last 3 years. Why? Because a lot of people, as soon as the lockdown has been released, soft, now it's soft all over Europe.
Cool.
All the people are.
Sorry to sort of interrupt, Matteo. Sorry, buddy. What, out of my interest as well, do you know how the market is in sort of obviously your home country, Italy, as well?
But the market in Italy has always been very stable, very the same price. It depends from which city. Like in Milano, the price started to go up in the last couple of years. So the market is doing very well there. Of course, with COVID-19, everything got frozen. But yeah, it's a good market in cities like Milano. And speaking about here in London, what is happening is that because everybody is wanting to move now, they started to look at moving 2 months ago. So last month, sorry. A lot of people are starting to move now. Therefore, we are still achieving good prices. The issues that we are seeing at the minute is that all those people that were doing short lets, working with tourists, especially in central London, talking about the Knightsbridge area and even where we work around London Bridge, all those people are switching to long term. So
exactly.
they were getting, like, for a one bed, they were getting around an income of £2,000 a month.
Exactly.
Day by day. Now they need to understand that.
Well, put it like this. When I was so long story short, I'm not going to give you the whole sort of rigmarole for everybody as well. Is that I've had a bit of an interesting sort of move myself, and with this move, it basically meant that long story short of it is that I was sort of technically homeless for about a week. And at that point, I was thinking, oh, God, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, who am I going to see? And blah, 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 you know? And I needed to find a new property. The funny thing is, and the catch between this is that obviously I'm an estate agent. I was nearly homeless myself. So it happens. It really, really does. But I think the main key factor of the whole thing and the big, big puzzle of the whole thing is that when I was going through this process, when I was going through this situation, I went into onto Airbnb and I saw all these properties on, and I was thinking, Jesus, there's a hell of a lot on at the moment. And what we found is I found a property myself for a week in central London for nearly 300 quid. That's unheard of. In a short-term let, that is completely unheard of. So taking that into sort of beneficial and taking that into factor, I think the reason why, obviously there's a lot going on at the moment, but COVID-19 has stopped the transportation, you know. People can't fly over to UK unless they're quarantining for 14 days. You really think a lot of people are going to do that? No. So what are they going to do is they're going to be saying, right, well, we're going to leave it until everything's done. And then when everything's come back to normal again, that's when the short-term lets are going to come back at, I think, full force. But the issue is, and like Matteo said at the moment, is that there are so many properties on the market that it's saturating the market, and that's because of the short-term lets. So yeah, Matteo, I think that's such a crucial element of the whole puzzle, is that there's so many properties coming on the market at the moment. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing, but at the same time, it just means that the property pricing and the property index and the fluctuation of the market is going to be a hell of a lot more because of the expansion of the amount of properties.
Yeah, it's a good news for tenants that they can start to negotiate price down. But what we have done is that the reason we've been very successful in the last 15 days is that we told our landlords that they had to reduce the price respect last year.
Of course.
All those people that did it straight away, are now happy landlords because they have let their properties. They took a hit of, and we're not talking about hundreds of pounds. We're talking about like an average of £100 a month.
Mm.
It's very important to secure a tenant in a moment like this, rather than wait to get what, to make £100 more a month. But you see, if you let a property for a certain price today, every day that you lose is our money that you lose. So on a property, I don't know, now we can do the calculation, but averagely a landlord with an empty property in our area is losing around £70 a day. So I think it's better to get a small hit on the price, find a good tenant, and rather than wait for the price.
Exactly, Matteo. And I think that's such a crucial element of the whole puzzle, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, with everybody out there at this moment in time, we're obviously looking at this podcast and tuning in right now. The underlying factor is that every single person is in a tricky situation right now. Landlords, tenants, you name it, absolutely everybody. So I think everyone needs to work together as a unit. And this is why I think landlords, first of all, they need to understand that if they're going to put their property on the market, there's got to be fluctuation with the negotiation of the price. If you don't have that, full stop, it's not going to work. Because there's so many properties that we need to understand to get people in. Well, heaven forbid, let's say there's another coronavirus sort of spike, which a lot of people are seeing at the moment anyway in other countries. Let's say this happens. What then happens if there's a termination of the notice on that time? And then they're trying to find a property that is near to the same price as theirs. They can't, because everyone thinks they're going to get more for the money. That's not going to happen. You need to fluctuate with the price and with the market at this moment in time. And I think this is why tenants out there as well, don't be like, look, I can say all this about landlords, but at the same time, tenants have got to be understanding that the landlord cannot lose out on money. Let's say, for instance, there's a landlord that has a mortgage on their property. I've known landlords that have got mortgages on their property for £2,500 a month. If they suddenly take a price reduction from 3,000, take it down to 2,500, there is no profit in that. Yeah, that's fine, but if there's anything lower than that, they're actually losing out on money. If they can't afford that, then that's something of an issue. Obviously, I'm not going to lie. If you've got a £2,500 a month mortgage on the property, then you've probably got a bit of money in your pocket anyway. But yeah, obviously that's something that we wanted to cover. There's also a couple of other things that a lot of people are talking about at the moment as well. So I'll try and go through everything. But yeah, another thing that someone is talking about at this moment in time, and I had a good old chat with as well just the other day. I can't name any names, but they did say, so what are people looking for at this moment in time when they go into lettings? When you put a property on the market, to sound as sort of black and white as possible on this one, are people looking for outdoor space? What are the amenities? What are the understandings of what they need to go for tenants and also landlords? And Matteo, what I'll do is I'll obviously pass it on to you in a second. But I think one thing that we'll obviously need to cover is that external space, I think, is such a big thing right now, because there are so many people looking for this because of obviously coronavirus at this moment in time. But yeah, Matteo, if you wanna have a bit of a chat about this and let people understand what are tenants looking for at this moment in time, and then also what are landlords looking for? What do they need to look for to find a tenant, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think that now and more than ever, tenants are looking for quality properties. They're looking for a place where they can call home. They are thinking a lot about, what if I need to stay closing my flat for another 5 months.
Of course.
There is another lockdown. So people are starting to ask, and not ask, but they're starting to say, okay, I need outside space. I need a nice balcony. In fact, the property that we let the most are those property with gardens. Actually, why we used to let a property in Sari Chiesa, ground floor 2-bedroom apartment with garden, we used to let it at 1,600 last year. We let it at 1,700 this year per month. Why? Because there is a garden. So the people.
Sorry, just a quick one. With regards to the garden space, all right, fantastic. Would you say that for this is more the tenant side of thing? Would you say that the price index would increase quite considerably if they had external space in the property, or would you say that it would pretty much stay the same with the market at this moment in time?
Yeah, definitely. The garden is a selling point. The price of the properties, of course, will go up if you have an outside space. Now, more than ever, definitely will increase the chances to sell your property prior than another, just because you have something more. Like, is what it could be a parking space. If you have a parking space, maybe you won't get more money, but you will let it or sell it first.
Yeah, of course. No, I think that's such a key factor in the whole thing, right? There's so many properties out there that don't have that external space, but from obviously our previous sort of understanding of what the market is at this moment in time, we see that a lot of tenants out there are definitely sort of saying, right, Alex, we need this external space. We need garden. We need balcony. We need direct sunlight to the east side or something like that. You know, I found, and I think Matteo's found as well, and obviously I'll need to understand this one as well, and I'd like to understand this on the third side, is that we found a lot of the properties that we have on at the moment, people aren't really looking at the sort of the interior of the property nowadays. They're looking at the exterior. And it's crazy to think that, because it's changed the concept of what properties are at this moment in time. You know, we've always when we've done evaluation, we've always taken consideration of the interior, because that's where you're going to be, right, most of the time. But now you're going to be working from home, and now people are going to be working from home quite for the foreseeable future. We never know when it's going to be back. People are looking at the externals, balconies and terraces and external gardens and so on and so forth. And just a really quick one on this one as well, which does concern me a lot. Once again, I can't say any names or anything like this, but I had a chat to a old client of mine. And I said to him, I was like, look, how's things going at the moment? How's work going? Blah, blah, blah. He's in the banking industry. And he said, Alex, we're not going to go back for a long, long time. We're not going to go back to some kind of normality for at least next year, or even halfway through next year. And I'm just like, God, like, what are we going to do? You know, you've got to understand. I think a lot of people have in the back of their heads, oh, we're going to go back to some kind of normality. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Look, I'm always a positive person. I'm always this. I know Matteo is as well. But my God, we've got to understand that this is not going to be going back to some kind of normality for a long, long time. And we've got to understand this, guys. And this is why we are trying to help out landlords and tenants at this moment in time. I want to try and be that voice, and I know Matteo does as well, saying like, look, we can help you do this. We can help you find the right property. We can get this for you. If we can do that, then that's going to help us. That's going to help the landlords, and that's going to help the tenants. So that in itself is going to be unbelievable. But look, guys, we always want to make sure that you guys are really, really sort of supportive for the whole situation. Like I said, Matteo and I, we're always here to have conversations, no matter what. Just put it on the comments, put it on the listings below, put everything down there. Just literally just do sort of a mouse spurt, and sort of say like, look, Alex, Matteo, I'm worried about this. What do I do here? Where do I go? How do I do this? We don't know everything, but if we can help, my God, we will. But enough about my sort of spill. Matteo, what are your sort of other thoughts and other initial thoughts that people need to be wary of when it comes to sort of tenants and landlords?
Sure, we gave some suggestions. We spoke about tenants. If my suggestion to landlords is to protect their investment, to make sure that you get a tenant, rather than keep your property empty just because you want to get the price that you used to get in 2019. That is not going to happen unless you have a special property, like we said earlier, outside space or a property next to a huge park. But otherwise, yes, I would say communication is the most important thing, is between landlords and tenants. We have a lot of tenants and a lot of landlords that approach us, say, what should I tell? What should I do? The most important thing is to, if you are a tenant and you have some concern, speak with your landlord. This is my first thing I would say, rather than start to look online and what should I say, what should I do? Speak with your landlord. If you are a landlord and you have issue with your tenants, speak with your tenants. Make sure that you work as a team. As Alex said earlier, a lot of tenants think that landlords, they're just making a lot of money renting out their properties. That is not true, especially with the new taxation that has been introduced a few years ago. Landlords need to pay their mortgages, and if you tenants don't pay the rent, the landlord wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage. Need to sell the property. So, and the other end, if you are a landlord and if your tenant is not happy, you need to understand why your tenant is not happy. Try to dialogate.
Sorry, Matteo. Also, with regards to obviously the situation at the moment, there's a lot of up and downs. There's a lot of market sort of displacement, and there's a lot of concerns. But adding on to what you just said, and I think this is such a crucial idea, and such a crucial thing, is people need to communicate. If you don't communicate, then how are people supposed to mind read you? People are not mind readers. If you don't communicate with your landlord, or the landlord doesn't communicate with the tenant, then how the hell are they supposed to know what's happening at this moment in time? But the reason why I want to just sort of like underline this factor as well is that, as we know, there is coronavirus that's happening. We can't stop that, and we're trying to at the moment, vaccinations, everything like this. God knows how long it's going to go on for. But the underlying issue is, and this is another thing that we're going to pass on to as well, just whilst we have a bit more time, is that furlough's stopping. So when furlough stops, what's going to happen then? The redundancies are going to happen. People are going to be very, very worried about their properties not being let at the right time. And there's going to be a lot of concern out there. But landlords, big sort of red capital letters, landlords. Make sure that you talk to your tenants. Talk to them. Say like, look, are you okay at the moment? What's happening with your work? Is everything okay? If they say, oh, well, look, I'm going through these sort of processes at the moment. Say like, look, let's work something out. Be flexible. Be negotiable on the price, because if you're not, you are going to lose a good tenant. If you lose that good tenant, we suddenly get another lockdown, your void period is going to be crazy. And whose fault is that? It's only going to be one person. So, yeah, Matteo, I completely agree with you on that one, buddy. And yeah, sorry, I sort of interrupted you on that one. But I just wanted to sort of push in that sort of key factor that I think would be very suitable for a lot of people to hear.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, please go ahead, buddy.
No, that communication is key, as we said. And what else? Maybe could be a good time for landlords to start to do refurbishment works on their properties in case they are empty. In periods like good deals as well in terms of contractors, and it's a good time to refurbish your property if you are looking to do a refurbishment. Why not? While it's empty, appreciate that it's a lot of money to spend, but if you can afford it, we use this time to do that. And for tenants, yes, I can see that tenants are looking for a place to call home, a place where they have space to work in it. We can see less people are looking for studio flats. I mean, in the past, people working in banks, like in the city center, they used to say, okay, I'm happy to rent a studio flat next to the bank because it's where I live, it is where I work. Now people are realizing I want to live in a nice place.
Yeah,
I can go down the stairs and go to a nice restaurants when I'm off work.
so location's quite a big thing as well.
I think location is a crucial point, but it's not anymore like I need to live in zone 1 next to my office. I think that we have noticed is that all the people working in offices in the city, they loves to rent properties in rather like Canada Water and Bermondsey, because you can walk within 30 minutes. You can walk to your office in the city and live in a nice place. I mean, Bank, Liverpool Street, they're beautiful places, but they're beautiful places for the people working in there during the day. There isn't anything to do. While in the areas where we work, they are very residential. There are beautiful parks, and in 30-minute walk, you are in the city. So this is why we are not having much troubles in renting out.
Yeah, exactly. You know what, that's such I didn't think about it like that, you know, but that's such a crucial element to the whole sort of puzzle of everything, really, isn't it? Because you've got properties in sort of bank, yeah, fantastic, but if you have someone where it's a little bit more residential, a little bit more quiet, which people are looking for at the moment, because obviously they're working from home, then it's a win-win, right? Don't get me wrong, obviously those kind of areas are very, very good and very looked after still, with obviously the lockdown and with people working from home. But once again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, negotiation of the price. You're not going to get as much as what you were getting when it was sort of full-time work, you know, when people are going into the offices. You're not going to get that anymore. And I think the issue is that there's so many agents out there that say, oh, well, you can put it on for this, and I think we're going to get this, and I think we're going to get that. And I'm not going to say any names or anything, but one of my good friends who has got a lovely, lovely property, which we've just seen in Tooting. And this is the 4-bed. He had a valuation the other day. The valuer said that he could get 2.9. 2.9? Really? Come on. Like, it's not going to happen like that. And I said this to him. I was like, look, I know exactly what you're going to get. You're not going to like it. It's going to be 2.1. Like, that's such a big drop. It's not that we're negotiating on the price. It's not anything like that. The issue is that the bigger agents, what they do is they bump up the price, but they know for a fact that they'll probably only be able to sell it for or let it out for a lot less. But that's the only way they're going to get that property compared to everybody else. So this is it. You've got to be understanding of that market. Landlords definitely need to understand that you're not going to get what you used to be getting. Full stop. But at the same time, we're not saying it's a bad market. You just need to be flexible with it. If you're flexible with everything, then it'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, Matteo, have you got any more sort of like underlying factors that you want to sort of send over to everybody at this moment in time?
Yes, the suggestion to tenants is find a place where you can call home and where there is a bit of community around you. You remember when we went last week to it in my fair?
Yeah.
Is my fair. The reason I used to like my fair is because there are a lot of people around, but nowadays all the flats are empty because they used to work with tourists. I mean, it's a bit sad. I personally prefer areas like Bermondsey Street where there are actually people living in it, so you can have a sense of community. So if I were a tenant, I mean, my suggestion to tenants is find a place where you can have a bit of character, a bit of community, because in times like this, I think it's very important to have a community to rely on.
Exactly. And I am so glad that you sort of said this, the community feeling that I think a lot of people are wanting at this moment in time. It's not because people are sort of wanting to sort of move place or anything like that. I think it's just because the smaller things when the lockdown was imminent, the smaller factors, the smaller bits and pieces that people are looking for, they now understand that they want a hell of a lot more. And that community feeling, if you're staying at home, you want people to talk to, you want to have that social aspect. People need it. You're human, If you don't have that social aspect, then people are going to be like, oh, well, they're going to isolate themselves in more, and it's just going to be not very good at all. But I just wanted to leave it on one last thing. So this is a bit more of the news side of things. So just to sort of leave you on a bit of a sort of an interesting one. So we've been talking to on the news, and also we've been talking to someone called Gareth Samples. He is the CEO of Martins & Co. So big agency out there. Good lad as well. And he basically said that 10% of the branches on the street agents are going to disappear in the next 12 months. I can see that happening, and I can see it already happening as well. So I'm not saying that you're going to get online agents, but I think a lot of people are going to be working from home. Hint, hint. But yeah, look, guys, we are here to help. Matteo and I are always here to help, and we are always here to give answers to the questions that you provide. And I would love to hear, I really would love to hear some interesting sort of questions. We are always here. We are always open. Alex, Matteo, but yeah, give us a search, and obviously big shout out to Vodcasts as well here. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thanks for listening.
Cheers, guys. See you later.